Hey everybody, Tony Bahu, Exit New Door Realty,
Vendor, Exit New Door Realty.
and we are here again for Ask a Realtor every Thursday, 10 o'clock sharp. We are live to answer any questions that you may have, and we're here for about 10, 15 minutes. You know, one thing, Vendor, moving sucks. I've never heard anyone say, I am looking so forward to moving.
Moving is no fun. We've all done it. I've actually probably moved 30 times in my lifetime.
30?
That's not an exaggeration.
Holy cow.
Being in radio, I've moved all over the place. I've moved several times in the same city. I've moved several times out of state, and it is no fun. But we do have a special guest today, Phillip Jones with Armstrong Relocation. He takes the suck out of moving.
Good.
All right.
That's true.
And he's got some great, he's got a great company and some answers. If you have answers about moving, I know a lot of times some people are selling their house,
right,
and then they're trying to buy a house at the same time.
Oof,
and that's where it can get a little tricky. And I know Phillip can help you with that because sometimes you might have to store some stuff,
right,
and move it later on a later date and things like that. But Phillip's got all the answers.
Give me the worst moving story that you had. Can you think of one?
Ooh, the worst moving story. Okay, here's one. This goes way back.
Okay.
I got my first radio job in Abilene, Texas.
All right.
Now, I moved myself. I could fit all my belongings back then into the back of a pickup truck, a Nissan hardbody.
Right.
I didn't have a lot of stuff.
Right.
But I didn't pack my mattress right.
Okay.
The mattress is on top. I'm not good at tying things down. Mattress is on top, so I'm about 30 miles outside of Abilene. Whoop, mattress comes off.
Wind gets it?
Yeah, and then my entertainment center, all particle board, semi behind me. Turned it into sawdust.
Oh, Lord.
So I lost. That's why you call relocation companies.
Yes.
And that's why you let the professionals do it.
Yes.
I lost two pieces, a mattress and a piece of furniture on that move. What about you? You got one?
Well, I don't have a particular bad moving story. What I have, as we bring in Phillip here to join us, is when you're younger, you can usually ask a friend,
right,
like one time or two times. I think it's really two max.
Depends on how long you know each other.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then the friends are out of the picture at that point because you get everyone gets like one move each, and then I'm done because everyone hates moving. So
if you have a pickup truck, you're kind of screwed.
Oh, well, you
call like every weekend
all the time, especially when you're in college or just, when you're in your 20s or whatnot. So that's I've burned some bridges, probably. But I've volunteered to help people all the time. So, anyways, but we bring in Phillip Jones from Armstrong Relocation and Company. So, Phillip, do you have a horror moving story? A personal one that you can relate to?
Oh, I've had too many to count. Even though I'm in the moving business, I'm kind of stubborn. I've got guys that can move me, and I usually don't do it. And my worst story is kind of one like Bender just said. I was driving. We had a house in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, and I was bringing some furniture back on the trailer, and of course I didn't strap it down properly like I should have. I just assumed that it would make it. And I made it all the way to about a mile from my house, and I live in Madison, and it flew off the back of the truck and broke into a million pieces, and this piece was probably from the 1800s. So now when I have something to do, I do let my guys go handle it because I'm not capable anymore of doing it.
No doubt. We understand that. So Bender is going to have some questions for you. I do too. About how to make moving suck less, I guess.
Right. I guess the first we met up a few days ago at an open house, Phillip and I, and I guess one of my questions is I've had to do this moving from like Reno to Austin is I had to store my stuff for a little while, get down there, and then send for my stuff. Do y'all guys do anything like that?
We do. We've got, one thing about us, Armstrong is the largest agency within United. So we've got Armstrongs kind of all over the country, California, Pennsylvania, Florida, Memphis, most of the southern states have an Armstrong. And then on top of it, we are also United. So there's usually a United or two or three in every town. So we can store at any of our facilities. and then transport it out. Even on a local type move, like y'all were saying, where the closings nowadays have changed so much from what they were, even 4 years ago, to where they're double closing or they're closing on one house and can't get in for 4 days, or in the case I'm doing one right now, it was 9 days. A lot of the moving companies, especially local moving companies, that's all they do. They don't have the capability. They don't have enough trucks, for one, to leave it on the truck, because if that truck's got somebody else's stuff on it, they're not making money. Well,
Right.
what luxury is, we've got a yard full of trucks, and they do all go out. We use them daily, but we can accommodate if need be. And if it's going to be longer, of course, we can put it in our storage unit there. As I was telling Bender too, and I haven't told Tony this because I haven't talked to him, but we also now have another warehouse right across the street from us, which is going to enable us to, even hold more stuff. So we can accommodate anything pretty much.
Good deal. So your typical, my question is, all right, you're a single guy, like you're in your 20s, a single female. You're moving from an apartment, I don't know, 800,000 square feet, and you're buying your first house. Maybe it's 1,200 to 1,500 square feet. Not huge, 3-2. You're going from a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom apartment to now a 3-2. Do you still advise someone to hire a moving company, or what do you guys actually come involved in where it makes sense for somebody?
I actually, the reason I was a little bit late is I had a lady call and she's wanting to move a 1-bedroom apartment from Brandon to Ridgeland.
Okay.
Nothing's too small. Sometimes the money just doesn't work out for people. But one thing I try to, and Tony's known me a while, I try to be as honest as I can up front. I'm not going to go in and tell them that, hey, we can do this economically for you, when it's not economical. If it's, most of the time an apartment, if they're on the first floor, realistically, you're looking at probably a 2 or 3 hour move. We do have a 4-hour minimum that we do. So that changes us a little bit, but a lot of times still, even on an apartment, it could take 4 hours. Some of those apartments, now you got to go way in the middle and you got to walk, 200 or 300 yards to get to their apartment and back. So it can take some time. And, something else on that we do a little differently than some of the other companies. And I hear this spill too often when I go in behind somebody, that, hey, we pad wrap all the furniture in your house. Armstrong does pad wrap everything in the house. They do shrink wrap anything cloth, and we do pack. We don't just throw stuff on the truck. A lot of companies will haul a TV. They'll put, lamps and stuff on the truck. We don't do that. We don't recommend that, because if something happens, 9 times out of 10, those companies that are doing that, they don't pay for it if it breaks.
Right.
We do have very good coverage through our company. You do pay for it a little bit, depending on the size of the shipment. But if something happens, we want to make sure we took every precaution for it not to happen. And I'm not going to say our guys won't every once in a while get on there and, help a lady out and put a mirror on there that's not in a box, just because they can't handle it. But 9 times out of 10, we want it in a box because we want it protected. We want you to get your stuff just like you had it.
That makes sense.
Cindy just
piped in. I went a little far, but
no, it's good. Cindy piped in, said having a moving service was a game changer for us,
and it can be for a lot of people.
That is so true. I mean, that takes the hassle out of it. Do you have people come out and pack up, Phillip?
We do. We've got packers. Most of our packers have been there 20 years probably. Now we do have some younger ones too, but our top people have been there about 20 years. So they all are very familiar with packing, and they can pretty much handle anything that needs to be packed at any time. So, one thing on the packing, since we're on it, and I've kind of taken a different approach now. If somebody's moving, and here we are in March, and they're moving in June, I highly recommend now for people to try to pack themselves to an extent, only because they can purge at the same time. Because if we come in and we pack everything and you sit back, you're not purging anything. We're going through, they're going to pack everything. I had a lady yesterday tell me that when she moved from Texas, that whoever moved her, they packed the garbage bag. that was in a garbage can with the garbage in it. Now, I don't know who that was, but I was like, that's what happens. So if you have time to pack yourself and you can go through, or even the stuff that's not breakable, books and stuff like that. Because 9 times out of 10, myself included, and probably everybody that watches this, they have more books than they'll ever read in their lifetime, and most
Right.
times they just don't need. So they can go through at that time and maybe donate them or what have you. Or, my mom was I use her as an example a lot. She's still alive, but she's in an assisted living place, and I had to go through her house, and she's a hoarder. It took me 6 weeks to go through her house, and I still didn't do it fully. The house sold pretty quickly, and I needed to get out, and I just gave up. So I left some stuff, but I couldn't bring my movers in because I wanted to go through everything and throw it away if we didn't want it. So I highly recommend that if you can.
So what is the items that you would say that you would recommend besides books that people can take care of, and really y'all just move the heavy stuff and the big stuff? I mean, what would you suggest on those tips and tricks?
Linens, a lot of times on a local move, especially, and I've actually gotten to this too, where now if instead of us having to pack, or just to save them money, because most people that are moving locally don't want to spend a fortune.
Right.
They're trying to cut costs, and because they've got a lot of expenses, buying, you don't really think about it, buying curtains and shower curtains and all that stuff. So they got a lot of expenses that come up. So in doing so, in a perfect world, if the closings fall right, they can haul mirrors, pictures, TVs, even, for the most part, Lord, now TVs, they're not like those ones 20 years ago where you had a 35-inch TV and it took 3
Right.
days to carry it. They can put that stuff in their car and carry it, and it'll save them money in the long run. We're seeing more and more where people, unless it's a big house, if you're in a house in Reunion or something like that, it's a big house, and they have lots of stuff, sometimes it's not practical for them to do that. But
I think
their homes and not
think
taking anything away.
yeah, we get a little garbled. We're trying to get you a better connection. Phillip, you're a little garbled right now, but
At the fast food restaurant right now.
Let's see if we can get a better connection here in a second. But
Okay.
he brings up a good point though about pre-packing stuff,
Right.
especially when you're decluttering because you put your house on the market. So you can get some of that stuff in. What we did was if it didn't go in the garage, so we could declutter and have the house presentable, and we rented out a storage unit. Now, especially in this kind of market, if you talk to your realtor like yourself, or me,
Or you're real.
I am too. But if you give yourself some time, 6 weeks, first 2 weeks are packing, decluttering. You rent a storage facility. You put the house on the market on week 2. Hot market like you have at Cottonwood.
Yeah.
Say that, I know it's an empty house, but say that was, livable, lived in still. You could get a contract within 2 weeks.
Yep.
Get the rest of the stuff packed up, either in storage or have Armstrong move you or a moving company like that. And then on day 45, when you're actually closing day, you move everything out to the new house, and you've only spent about a month and a half in the pod or wherever. Right. And that only is going to cost you, depending on how much stuff you have in there, the little knickknacks, the books, the whatever, $100, $150 for a storage facility.
Well worth it. Yeah.
Well worth it.
Well worth it.
You've cleaned up your house, so you got it sold, and now you've in a sense moved twice, but you've purged, like he said, and then it's out and ready to go. It's so much worth it.
Especially if you're moving from state to state, maybe.
Right.
Because you're paying for moving stuff you don't even want anymore.
Exactly.
So it's so important and so vital to get rid of the stuff you don't want to move cross country.
Right.
You're going to save yourself money that way too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did we lose Phillip?
We did.
He
might have been.
Great info though, Phillip.
Right. And then what's give me the number.
Armstrong Relocation. You can give Phillip a holler at 601-665-3336. That is Phillip's cell phone number. All right. Or Phillip Jones at goarmstrong.com. We appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can just look them up on Armstrong Relocation.
Yeah,
in terms
that's
of
probably the
easiest
easiest way to try. Yeah.
Online there.
Do all that.
So, anyways, what did Cindy say? Wish I would have known
yeah.
I could have had movers, packers for the first 4 moves. The last move was the best using a mover and a packer. And again, it's all about it's either time or money.
Right.
If you have a lot of time, a lot of friends, that might be the way to go. But if you don't, and you're moving across state, because none of your friends are moving across state with you.
No, you better have friends on both ends.
Right, to unpack and do everything. We highly suggest you hiring a mover. And obviously, the first part is calling one of us, one of your realtor friends, to advise you on the steps from the very beginning to all the way after closing. Guys and gals at Exit New Door Realty really take care of you.
That's right. Give Tony a holler.
Yeah, 601-212-5955. What's going on with my voice?
I'm choked up. Moving chokes you up.
There you go.
I know. Or you call me, Bender, 769-257-1007.
All right, we'll holler at you guys next week. Ask a Realtor.
Bad.